Greetings, families and friends. Welcome to Personal Gov. I'm JP Watkins. This is where you come for food for your mind and motivation for your soul. Today's topic is going to be your heart. Know your home should be a battlefield. Now, I know a lot of you can relate to this. You've been through hostile households. You've been in that place where you either experienced domestic violence. You've been in that space where you're at war with your wife. You're at war with your husband. You've been in that place where you're not sleeping in the same bedrooms. Or maybe you're a child and you're dealing under dad's tyranny. He's an alcoholic. He's verbally abusive. He's violent. You seen, giving the business to your mom, boot stomping her, stomping her around, throat slamming her, body slamming her, bamming her head against the wall. You know how this is. But your home, your heart should be a battlefield. So, we're going to tackle that home piece first. So I'm going to share a little bit of my own journey. Coming up as a child, with 7 of us. And for a portion of that time, I stayed with my mom. But then after I was around 11, I started to stay with my grandmother. And my mom had moved with the other kids. And I had a relative that was an alcoholic. And man, home was really a battlefield. And I can't even really say it was a battlefield because I was just bombed. I was just outright dominated, decimated. From times that I'd come home, as soon as I come home from school, dishes piled up to the sink. And I'm like, the first thing was, MF, get your chump self in there, and so on and so forth. I ain't gonna go into all the expletives. But, from getting smacked in the back of the head, from when I would sit down and be drawing, literally would step on my hand, break the pencil on my hand, literally get stomped, get kicked. Had other relatives in the house. Sadly, they were equally afraid of this particular person. Now, my grandma wasn't, in defense of her. A lot of times she was at work, either that or she was at home, she was asleep. So a lot of these things, she didn't know what's going on. And that particular relative made sure that she intimidated me so well between, dangling me over the banister or pulling knives on me, just different threats in general. So I want y'all to know firsthand that I understand what it is to be in a home where it's a battlefield. Now, for some of y'all may be like, well, man, this ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't never had to deal with domestic violence. I ain't never been terrorized by a family member or a spouse. But this other place, this is a place that probably even more y'all can relate to. Your heart. Your heart shouldn't be a battlefield. You going through this. You going through his wallet. You going through his phone. You done found his baby's mama's text. You done found other girls' numbers, lipstick on his collar. And vice versa, fellas. You met her at the bar. You met her at the strip club. You don't trust her because of her questionable background or questionable tendencies. And now your heart's a battlefield because you're tied between the way you feel. Your head and your heart is at war because your head is telling you one thing and your heart is telling you another. And at the end of the day, your home, know your heart, should be a battlefield. So how do you reconcile this? Well, I wish I could say it was a simple solution, but it's not. But I can say this. If you are in a hostile household and you are physically at risk, do what you got to do to get out that situation. If you got a plan, if you got a plot, for me, I had to run away. For me, I got to a kill point to where I felt like, hey, if I get hopped on again, even if it be me, somebody gonna die. So I got to a point where I just started running away. That for me, that was the thing. Now, for some of you, you may be single moms, you may have kids, so it may not be that easy. But even my grandmother, may she rest in peace. I didn't get all the intricacies, but she was going through a similar situation. She said, hey, she had 12 kids. She said she had to take up some of the kids, so some of the kids got left behind. Now, that's a dispute for another thing. I ain't getting into all that, but I'm just telling you a situation when your life is on the line. And of course, I was ear hustling. I was a child, but I remember her saying, hey, some of my kids didn't understand. They were resentful because I left them behind. But she said, what they didn't understand is I had to save me. I had to save me. I was being beat unconscious. Water thrown on me, woke up and being beat unconscious again. So, my grandma and her great wisdom, you got to survive. Yes, you got to take care of your kids. So I'm not telling you to abandon your kids. I'm just giving you an example of what other people have done to get out of these really hostile situations. So if you know that you're being physically assaulted, being intimidated, being threatened, you have a responsibility for your kids. If kids are involved, it's only you between them and the big bad world. So you got to get out. You got to do what you got to do to make it happen. You got to reach out to ministers, reach out to churches, reach out to organizations. If you can hear this, you got some means of reaching out. Reach out to a librarian, reach out to a fireman, reach out to a police, reach out to anybody and everybody till you get some help. It's out there, but you are going to have to be active. You're going to have to be consistent. You're going to have to be persistent, and you're going to have to act like your life depends on it, because it does. And for the rest of us, well, your heart is a battlefield, and it ain't just got to be about love. It ain't just got to be about a relationship. It could be about a vocation. You going to law school and you don't want to go to law school, but you don't want to disappoint your parents. Or you at this job and you feel like you want to go home and put a shotgun in your mouth and pull the trigger because it's just sucking your soul. Because you want to do something else. You feel like this is not your call of significance. This is not your purpose in life. If you are at war with yourself, if your heart is hurting and your heart is a battlefield, then you have to do something about it. And it's nice. We want other people to accept us. We want other people to understand. But guess what? When you have a vision, you have to have the valor to go for what will ease your heart, what will ease your pain, what will take you off that battlefield. Now it's going to be different for each one of us, but we all got somebody. And if we ain't got somebody, we can find somebody that we can confide in. We got to reach out often. We got to reach out early, because no one should suffer in silence. Your home and your house, your heart should not be a battlefield. You should not be dreading going home. Should not be dreading going to work. You should not be dreading to take his or her call. You should not be dreading this and dreading that. No. Take action. Get in the driver's seat of your life. Do what you can. You have some power. You may feel like, but if I leave, if you stay, he gonna do whatever. But if I quit this job, then start looking for another job. But I've been here 12 years. I've been here 15 years. Okay, start skilling up and scaling up so that you can get your exit strategy in place. But I love her. But I love him. He done gave me 4 STDs. You love him, but he putting your life at risk. Because one of these times he's going to bring you something home that you can't get rid of. Something that they don't have an antibiotic for. You got to act like your life depends on it, because it's your life. And you have to get in the driver's seat, and you got to fight like you've never fought before. And you got to muster up the courage to get free. To get free from the agony of your soul. To get free from this hostile household. To get free from this manipulative force or this terrible workforce. We only have this life that we know of. And yes, I believe in an afterlife, and I know a lot of people don't believe in that. But this is the life that we know we have. This is the time that we know we have today. Don't remain a prisoner of your life. Don't remain a prisoner of your emotions. Don't remain a prisoner of your history. Just because you and somebody got a history together does not mean that you have a future together. Just because you've been at this job for 12, 15 years, don't mean you got to be here another 12, 15 years. Just because you love somebody does not give them the right to dominate you physically and verbally and assault you over and over again. You have to love yourself enough to say, you know what? I love you, but I love me more. I care about the way you feel. Your opinion matters, but my opinion matters the most when it comes to my life and my lot. So I hope that this has inspired you to take action, to reach out to someone, to some organization, to somebody. If you don't have nobody and you listen to this, contact me. Drop a message in the comment section. Send me a direct message on Instagram. I'm not really on there often, so Facebook would be your better thing. Either here on YouTube or on Facebook. Reach out to me. I will do what I can. If I can't help you, I will do my best to point you in the right direction, because it's that serious. This is your life. Get in the driver's seat. Understand that with very, very few exceptions, in most cases, we have some power and we can make a difference. It's up to you to decide if you can make that difference. Are you willing? What's holding you back? That's my time. In the meantime, persist, believe, and achieve.